Do you know any famous people who had lived in Batavia?
Well, I sure do. Right here on my wall. See, maybe Dad wants to turn the camera here. I'll go over here and point these out to you. These will come off easy or not. This is Jackie DeShannon, who is a famous singer. And this is her Batavia High School picture when she was here in the early 1950s. This is one of her albums. And she is credited with writing such songs as Put a Little Love in Your Heart and What the World Needs Now is Love. And she has probably made millions of dollars. She now lives in California. And while she was in Batavia, her name was not Jackie DeShannon. Her name was Sherry Lee Myers. That was her family's real name. The Jackie DeShannon is her stage name or her acting name or whatever have you. And her father was a barber, and he had his shop here on Wilson Street in Batavia. And so she's won a Grammy Award. She's quite famous, so she's a famous person in Batavia. Then here's some that are other famous. We had in Batavia, these are baseball cards of Ken Anderson, who was the starting quarterback of the Cincinnati Bengals. And he was the starting quarterback for the Super Bowl in 1982. And he graduated in my high school graduating class in 1967 from Batavia High School. And he lived just a few blocks from where you live. He lived right at the corner, the second house off the corner of McKee Street and Republic Road on the north side of McKee Street. That's where he grew up. And so then behind him on Harrison Street was Dan Issel, who was one of the all-time scorers in the history of professional basketball. And he graduated from Batavia High School in 1966 and went on to a career first with the Kentucky Colonels college team, and then later with the, I guess it was the Kentucky Colonels were the professional team, the Kentucky, University of Kentucky basketball team. Then he went to the Kentucky Colonels, and then he ended up with the Denver Nuggets basketball team. And he ended up, I think when he retired, he was 4th or 5th in all-time high scoring in professional basketball. And both he and Anderson are now in the Basketball and Football Halls of Fame. And this is Bruce Von Hoff, who was I think graduated from Batavia High School in 1962 or 63. And he ended up signing a contract for a professional baseball player. And this is his baseball card when he was with the Houston Astros. And his dad still lives today at the corner of North Avenue and Jefferson Street. And Bruce is there quite often seeing his dad. And Bruce had a brother, Byron, who graduated from Batavia High School in 1966, who signed a professional baseball contract with the New York Mets. And then his arm went bad on him. So those are kind of some famous people in Batavia's history. And then this is a picture taken at the moment when Hank Aaron hit the home run that broke Babe Ruth's record in baseball. This is probably one of the most famous moments in the history of professional baseball, and that's Hank Aaron right there. And this gentleman right here next to him is Craig Sager, who has his microphone. He's a CNN sportscaster, and at the time Aaron was playing for the Atlanta Braves, and they were both owned by Ted Turner, and so Sager had the opportunity to go out onto the field as Aaron is running the bases after he's hit the home run that broke Babe Ruth's record and do an interview with him, which is now played as an ongoing exhibit at the Baseball Hall of Fame. But anyway, Sager graduated from Batavia High School in 1969, and so he's kind of a famous guy too. And he grew up not very far from your house. He grew up over on Chabanaw Trail, which is just a couple blocks north of where you live. So there's a lot of famous people that have come out of Batavia.
Has there always been a bridge in Batavia?
Yep, there's always been a bridge. There used to be, when they had the second channel of the river that I talked about, there were two bridges. There was the bridge where the current new bridge is built, and then there was another bridge in front of where McDonald's is. And where McDonald's is used to be was all water, and that was all filled in. And there was a bridge right there to span the second channel of the river. So there used to be 2 bridges in town. So we've always had to deal with water. And as we just went through, you probably may remember last year when we were finishing up building the bridge, that was, you know, quite a challenging time for everybody in Batavia, but we were able to keep the bridge open during construction for about 95% of the time of its actual, so we didn't disrupt people too often, because on those days when this bridge was shut down and everybody had to go to Fabian Parkway, it was pretty messy and there was a lot of backups. And what you have to appreciate is that right today, Fabian Parkway, depending on the day, takes anywhere from 40 to 50,000 cars a day to go over that one. And the Wilson Street Bridge, now that it's back to full bore, is probably running anywhere from about 25 to 28,000 cars a day. And when you take that 28,000 cars a day that are going across Wilson Street and throw it up there on Fabian with the 40 or 50,000 that are always going across, that's way too much traffic. So, you know, bridges will be something that I'm sure Batavia will continue to have to talk about, and all these other towns as the area continues to grow. We are finding not only, even when our town doesn't grow in population, we are finding now that the number of cars within our town continues to grow, because many people now, many families, it's not unusual in Batavia to have 4, 5, or 6 cars. And so all of a sudden the number of vehicles is increasing, and it's just because of the people's need to be mobile and be able to move around. And so, like, everybody that goes to high school now, I think, has a car. It seems like they're the vast majority of them. And if you look at the parking situation out at the Batavia High School, you can generally see that there's a huge demand. And it's not unique to Batavia. It's every high school and every town out there has the same set of circumstances going on to it.